Hello and welcome back to Aetheral Space 17.33 Gate Open, Gate Closed Part 2.
We are back. It's been a while since I've read Aether. I've missed it dearly.
It's been like a week, yeah.
Yeah, but my week felt very long, okay?
You've been through a lot, I can tell.
It was full of joy. Not even. It's not like I had a particularly hard week. It just felt like it took forever. It always feels like that when I travel. Because the airport feels like... It was funny, I was going to say the airport feels like 10 9/11s, but I don't think I could say that. I'm so used to using 9/11 as like a this sucks, but it's like, well,
well, you said you couldn't know that you could say that, and yet you did.
And then I said it, yeah, but see, by prefacing it, I'm less guilty.
Okay. Well, I don't think the guilt exists. There's only power, and those two wicked to claim it.
Yeah? Is that it?
Yeah. Do you have any power?
Mods
I didn't think
him.
so. I am the mods.
Oh yeah, we don't have any mods anymore. Except for Anomalous.
Yeah, we do actually have mods, but they have no power over me. I'm immune.
Yeah, sure. We can believe that.
What do you mean?
Anyway.
I have all the fucking nuclear codes.
We're gonna start reading now, okay?
Okay.
Several years ago, the world was on fire. He could see it from here. Get off me! Dragon Hadrian screamed, struggling against the medics as they tried to hold him back. Is this like Teen Dragon or like Kid Dragon?
We'll see.
Well, what voice should I be using?
You can wait for the next line.
Get off me! He had suffered on Elysian Fields. Everyone had. Everything that could have gone wrong had gone wrong. What Skipper had envisioned as a rallying cry for freedom across the galaxy had instead ended up as a flame-choked whisper. Bruno? Serena? When Dragon tried to think about the last time he'd seen them, his mind flinched away. The battle had been lost from nearly the moment it began. That was how Dragon Hadrian had ended up here on the last evacuation ship, burnt nearly from head to toe, looking back at the burning world of Elysian Fields. He reached out with a desperate hand, as if to clutch the flaming rock and to pull it close. They couldn't just leave. They couldn't just leave! All their hopes were still back there. Skipper was still back there. Ruth was still back there. They couldn't just leave them behind for the fires. Turn it around! Dragon screamed, his rationality burnt away with everything else. Turn the ship around! We're going back! Quite rightly, his demands were ignored. The debris that bridged the gap between Elysian Fields and their current position was proof enough of what hesitation would bring for an escaping ship. The supremacy was merciless today. Skipper had spat in its face with that galactic broadcast. It wouldn't rest until every living soul understood what a foolish move that had been. The green landscape of Elysian Fields was turning black and red before Dragon's eyes. Somewhere far below, Ein Sof was dancing once again. If Skipper was still fighting the Supreme, he would never have allowed that. Which meant... Dragon Hadrian screamed. It was a wild sound, beyond animalistic, bypassing even instinct itself to tear itself from Dragon's throat with such force that specks of blood accompanied it. They splattered across the window, and as Dragon broke free from the hands pulling him back, he rushed forward to join them. A scream, a scream, a scream. No words. All of his words had been used up. Lies and bluffs and deals had led him only to this moment, and all he could do now was drown in it. He screamed, he screamed. He smeared his blood across the window and he screamed. Skipper. Ruth. They were still down there. He had to do something. But there was nothing to be done, and so Dragon Hadrian screamed. When Elysian Fields broke open like an egg, violent fury devouring everything on its surface, Dragon Hadrian was still screaming. It was silent. Perhaps none could hear him over the chaos of the planet's sudden destruction, or perhaps he had simply screamed his throat away. When they dragged him back to his sickbed, he was still screaming. When the debris field of Elysian Fields was swallowed by the black of space, he was still screaming. Even when he closed his mouth, Dragon Hadrian was forever screaming. Who do you think has it worse, Subaru or Dragon Hadrian?
Which one?
Day 3. Dragon Hadrian's fists met Dragon Hadrian's fists. The captain and Nararihion tore the streets apart as they fought their way through them. As both of them had access to Gemini shotgun or an equivalent, they knew that ranged combat was a non-starter, so here and now they endeavored to kill each other with their bare hands. Each punch sent waves of air pressure through the municipal veins, causing stands and stalls to go flying. Each kick resounded against the ground below, creating spider webs of cracks. One of those kicks, unleashed by the captain, slammed into Nararihyo's chest, sending him flying back against a wall. As soon as the captain lunged in to take advantage of the opening, though, "Guardian entity, Ozake no Mushi!" Red tendrils lashed out from beneath Nararihyo's kimono, seeking to pierce the captain's body in half a dozen places. That was fine, though. An attack the captain had time to react to was nothing at all. Gemini World! The captain vanished in a shower of blue sparks, and the tendril stabbed only into empty air. A second later, he reappeared, higher up, standing on a rooftop, palm angled down towards Nararihyo. Firing off a Gemini shotgun directly would do nothing but give his enemy ammunition, but that didn't mean it was useless. "Gemini shotgun!" He fired, not at Nararihyo itself, but at the supports of the building behind it. Guardian entity or not, having a building collapse on top of it would certainly bruise Nararihyo's pride. The captain watched with satisfaction as the grey oblong collapsed into dust and smoke, but just as the smog swept down the street, Leo Rain! Nararihyo had already appeared behind the captain in another shower of blue sparks, hands angled to launch forth another beam. As another user of the ability, Nararihyo understood Gemini Shotgun well. It would protect the captain against individual projectiles, but a sustained beam was something it had no answer to. If it hit, it would hit true. If. Gemini World! The beam blasted through the space the captain had just vacated, carving through the next row of buildings instead. And the captain appeared behind Nararihyo, already mid-swing, his fist inches from Nararihyo's face. Are they just chaining, teleporting behind each other?
They are, right now.
It's like that. Isn't there a fucking... I'm trying to think
we
of
saw that
clip.
in Bleach, yeah.
Leo Rain. The captain's fist passed through the fading silhouette of blue sparks, and Nararihyo reappeared above, his body horizontal, hands pointed down towards the top of the captain's head. Gemini World! The beam drilled through the building below, reducing it to rubble, and the captain fell out of the sky above Nararihyo, knees pointing downwards, aimed right for the base of Nararihyo's spine. Oh, is he doing like the Robin dive kick?
Yeah.
Leo Rain, Gemini World! Leo Rain, Gemini World! Leo Rain, Gemini World! Leo Rain, Gemini World! It was an unusual battle where momentum was seized and stolen over and over again. The blue sparks danced through the air, and the bodies of the captain and Nararihyo existed only for the brief instance required to aim an attack and have the other avoid it. In terms of their skill sets, these two were the closest to the original Dragon Hadrian, and this haphazard clash was the closest thing to Dragon Hadrian fighting himself. A battle that could never advance from starting positions. Or, at least, it would have been. When the captain acted next, reappearing beyond a broken window, he had no grand plan in mind. When he pointed his finger and moved his lips, speaking words that were not Gemini Shotgun, it was more due to a misfire of muscle memory than anything else. In the first place, he was only executing a ranged attack in the hope of surprising Nararihyo and creating something in the realm of an opening. The captain pointed his finger and moved his lips. Taurus Mortar! Dragoon de Fleur was on the run from a monster. Wait, wasn't the last thing we saw Dragoon do hit his fucking transformation?
Yeah, he did transformation, went crazy and stole permutation and made a run for it.
Oh, yeah. His mind was beginning to clear, the light of thought peeking through the clouds of pain. The agony that Cancer Archon Aberrel inflicted hadn't lessened, but as he rampaged through the shadows, Dragoon was beginning to get used to it. It felt like his body was being dunked in acid while his nerves were plucked apart with pliers, but so long as one could get accustomed to anything, they could adapt to anything. The thing pursuing him, though? That was not something Dragoon de Fleur could adapt to. As he made his way through the hallways of Oberon, slicing everything around him apart with sharpened shadows, he spared a bloodshot glance backwards. The night was still pursuing him. That man with the kind smile and the closed eyes, calmly walking after him in an endless chase? As he was right now, Dragoon de Fleur was not easy to pursue. He was diving through shadow portals to get around, existing in physical space only for a few seconds at a time. And yet the night never lost the trail. Even with that slow, calm walk, this should be a comma after slow. Slow, calm walk. Every time Dragoon looked, the man had gotten closer. Pain ignited fear to become rage. "Leave me alone!" Dragoon screamed, voice tempered by aether as he tossed the two halves of an unfortunate Seelie Ranger at his pursuer. The knight casually slapped the bisected corpse away with his shield, but that had been according to Dragoon's plan. The shadow of the viscera lunged off of the ground as spikes, aimed for the knight's back. So who's this knight again, I'm sorry?
Where's the guy with the closed eyes? 1 star.
The shadow of the viscera lunged off of the ground as spikes aimed for the knight's back. A Aetheral, desperate smile spread across Dragoon's lips. Just like all shadows that Dragoon made solid, those blades were nigh unbreakable. Even someone on this level could only do so much against a sneaky attack from an absolute weapon like that.
There should be sneak attack. It makes it sound a bit cuter. Sneaky attack.
I do like sneaky attack. Wait, no, keep sneaky.
I do like sneaky attack. That's actually the mistakes into miracles.
Everything in this world had a shadow. Every shadow in this world was Dragoon de Fleur's limb. Despite how vile existence and disgusting form, that much was true. It was the closest thing he had to pride. Dragoon de Fleur's pride rushed towards the knight's back, and the knight casually turned around and sliced them apart with a single swing of his sword. "I've been watching," the knight spoke for the first time, his voice dignified and warm. "You move around very quickly, don't you?" "Yes, I observed that. You can either turn shadows like this solid and shape them with that ghost, or you can turn them into portals to travel to their counterparts with." He poked the decomposing shadow with his sword, stirring it around a little. "It's a splendid ability," the knight continued, "and your usage of it is commendable, too. I would compliment your skill, but from what I've seen, you seem the sort to rely more on raw instinct. You might want to comment after scene. In that case, I would tip my hat to those instincts, if only I was wearing one. Alas." The sword sunk deep into the puddle-like shadow, right up to the hilt. The knight chuckled as he crouched, submerging his blade. My throat kind of hurts. I don't know why. It's like a weird hurty. I think it's just dry. I'll get water after this chapter. "Oh my," he said. "Now that is a nice bit of business." Is that why that was in your head, or is this just a nice...
This is out of my head into the thing.
"Oh my," he said. "Now that is a nice bit of business. It makes sense, I suppose. If you can turn shadows into portals, you can also use those portals, I assume, as pit traps. I take it that means you were the only one who can decide to exit the portals? Is it some kind of aether-based space in there, and anyone who isn't you is just stuck? I had a friend with a similar ability a long time ago. It's a little nostalgic." The shadows crawled over the walls. Everything in this world had a shadow, and Dragoon de Fleur called them forth. Shadows of corpses, shadows of rubble, every minute umbra that could be found in this place. They all flowed... minute umbra, sorry. They all flowed to surround the knight from all sides, bearing their fangs as perfect black blades. "Stay back!" Dragoon wheezed. I can't believe Dragon made another appearance. "What's up, little bro?" Libra!
It's fucked up because they did Leave in the Desert as well. He has been walking back all day, all throughout day 3.
Stay back. Every time I think of the dragon typos, I imagine, you know that panel of Black Noir smiling like I did things?
Yeah.
It's just him with the blindfold.
What are you doing here?
"Stay back," Dragoon wheezed, saliva flowing from his mouth onto the floor, blue sparks crackling in the spittle. "I said, get away from me!" Behind and above him, Aetheral readied itself, sharpened finger bones ready to pluck a heart from a rib cage. The knight stood, noted the deadly implements arrayed against him, and offered a curt nod. "I see," he said calmly. "It seems you've arranged 6 methods of killing against me that you're confident in. 4 hidden ones among the 2 I can see. That isn't something that can be written off as instinct. I'm holding a sword and shield, so it's hard for me to actually clap. But I applaud your skill as an assassin, sir." Blades lunged forth. Aetheral launched itself. In the smoke screen of shadows and death, more strategies began to quietly unfold. And in the center of it all, the knight called 1 star just kept smiling. "However," he finished, "in the end, you're simply insufficient." He tapped his blade against the black puddle, and a single spark of orange aether flashed. In that same moment, Dragoon de Fleur's attack came to a sudden and unceremonious end. The leaping shadows lost cohesion and splattered onto the floor like oil, slowly oozing back to their original positions. Aethereal's form unwound into strings of blue aether, the pseudo-guardian disappearing completely as its claws were inches from 1 star's face. Even Dragoon's makeshift arm, sculpted with his ability, fell apart and returned to his shadow, leaving him with just a stump. Aethereal's agony had disappeared with it. In that moment, Dragoon de Fleur's mind was cleared of pain and rage, replaced with something else entirely. He blinked, slowly looking down at his stump. Huh? Why are you surprised? One Star asked, standing up. My ability is no great secret. I can stick things together. If it exists, I can force adhesion upon it. Why would your Aether be an exception to that? Dragoon understood. Not how One Star had done it, but what he had done. He'd somehow forced Dragoon's Aether to contract until it was infusing just his body alone, disabling any external abilities in the process. Right now, he couldn't even control the shadow at his own feet. One Star took a step forward. Dragoon took a step backward. You seem frightened, One Star commented. You don't have to be. Now that you're unarmed, there's nothing stopping me from taking you alive. Even though you leapt into the heart of the enemy, you're going to be able to keep on living. Isn't that cause for celebration? Dragoon opened his mouth to say something, but before he could do so, the One Star was upon him. The sword moved faster than Dragoon could perceive, and with more precise delicacy than Dragoon could comprehend. With the grace of a paintbrush, it carved its way up Dragoon's face, slicing through his right eye and sliding to the side to take the top of his ear, too. By the time One Star lifted the blade away, the blood hadn't even started pouring yet. Such was his speed. Of course, once it did, that blood sprayed across One Star's calmly smiling face. Dragoon reared back, screaming, clutching his face with his remaining hand. One Star simply continued smiling. Eyes still closed, he turned his head down as if to regard the thin red line of blood along the edge of his blade. Oh dear, he said. Because you dodged to the side like that, my blow was more vicious than I intended. I told you already I have no desire to kill you. Please don't make this difficult.
Why are you hitting yourself?
Is he gonna carve off slices of Dragoon like meat? The sword moves again, 2 swift strokes, severing the fingers that were hiding Dragoon's face. His screams increased in pitch to the point they were almost inaudible. The cleanly cut digits clattered to the floor, and when One Star continued to advance in pursuit, they were reduced to greasy smears across the floor. I would just remove the second across the floor there. Dragoon whirled around, blue aether crackling around him, going from fight to flight. Gotta get away, he thought, desperate. Gotta escape, gotta run. Oh? One Star wondered. How will you do that without your leg? Puccina? It was just as the knight said. Dragoon's right leg went flying off with another deluge of blood, painting the wall beside them. Oh, does he stop the bleeding too by making the blood adhere to, like, the body?
You could do that. That's another application.
Oh, this guy's a freak.
He's an actual demon.
The screams barely sounded human anymore, just the instinct-smothered cries of an animal in crisis. Faced with such an undignified scene, One Star simply took a handkerchief from his pocket and wiped his blade clean of the tiny bit of blood that had managed to cling to it. I do wish you hadn't tried to kick me like that, he sighed. It could have been the trigger for an Aether ability, so I had no choice but to disable you. It's really very sad what's happened to you. You were a worthy adversary, but because of your own misjudgment, you've ended up in such a sorry state. Satisfied with his pristine sword, One Star whipped it through the air. As a knight, honor demands that I now grant you a merciful end. I beg of you, be still this time. Nothing would fill me with more sorrow than causing you undue pain. Oh? One Star cocked his head. Down on the ground, Dragoon's screaming had stopped, replaced with a dry retching as he barely held himself up on what remained of his one hand. The variant's eyes had rolled up into his skull. Was he trying to activate Aetheral again? He'd be sorely disappointed if so. No, that wasn't it. Dragoon retched forward once again, and the shadows of his own insides poured from his mouth like ink. So, is it just darkness in general? Because how would he have a shadow when there's no light in his body?
Well, yeah, it's darkness, basically. It's the darkness of the inside of his body that's coming out.
Okay. One Star's luxury was forgotten in an instant. He and his blade moved forward as one, seeking to finish Dragoon in one swift motion. But too late. Dragoon de Fleur had already pushed himself into the black puddle he'd created from within his own body, and he had already vanished into the resultant portal. For a moment, the knight was alone in the hallway, until he abandoned levity and rushed forth with all the speed he could muster. Oh, he's gone.
One Star was playing around too much.
He made it out. I really want to finish this, but my throaty hurt too much. Can you take over?
Taurus Mortar. It was funny. When the captain had developed this ability, he'd had no idea of its true purpose, of the subconscious desire deep within his heart. He hadn't understood the intended target of this homing attack. He was the same using it here. Even as he pointed his finger, and even as he spoke the words, he had no idea that he was fulfilling a mandate carved deep inside his brain. The shot fired, hurtling towards Nerarion. It started. The Guardian entity's first reaction was to smirk. It was only natural. Both of them understood the basic parameters of their shared abilities. A projectile attack like this might as well not have existed. It would simply be recorded with Gemini's shotgun and fired back out, or if it was too dangerous, cast aside entirely. But when the blue sparks ran across Nerarion's body, Taurus Morta did not vanish. The tiny sphere had grown to the size of a arbol already, accumulating dust and debris, building up speed. For Nerarion, that was exactly the problem. While Nerarion's ability was called Leo Rain, that was simply the suite of powers it had organised both Gemini's shotgun and world under. The principles of those abilities themselves had not changed. Gemini's shotgun operated by understanding the structure of an incoming projectile in order to record it. Faced with Taurus Morta, which changed shape and speed of each passing second, it was helpless. Next, Nerarion disappeared. It was fruitless to retreat into Gemini world. Taurus Morta trapped the aether of a target, not their actual physical presence. The now large sphere simply curved through the air, now approaching the speed of a bullet, pursuing the barely visible cloud of sparks that was Nerarion. When he remanifested, it was right in his face. When it remanifested, it was right in its face immediately, forcing it to retreat into Gemini world again. For the third attempt, Nerarion attempted something that, under any other circumstances, would have worked. The only way to stop Taurus Morta was to destroy it. Ruth Blaine had proven that back in her own fight against the Captain. Reappearing as far away as it could, Nerarion fired a blazing beam of lights directly at the incoming mortar. That much force, coordinated by Leo Rain, would ordinarily be enough to break through nearly anything. Today, though, it was not. This could be called an aether glitch, one that never would have come to light under normal circumstances. When he had been developing his new ability, the Captain had considered the possibility of using Taurus Morta as a shield for himself in combat.
I was thinking about saying this earlier, but I was just thinking, I hope we get to see a cool interaction where, the abilities uniquely impact each other because they're technically both Dragon. That's fun.
Positioning himself behind it even as it pursued the enemy. With that in mind, he incorporated a certain wrinkle into this ability's operation. Dragon Hadrian's attacks would phase right through the Taurus Morta. So, woot.
Was that consistent with earlier, though, when he was fighting the other variants?
I don't think we've seen the Captain fight other variants, have we?
Didn't he fight, He
fought Roof.
Yeah, you're right.
Worm
was there, but he wasn't, fighting.
I don't think Worm was even there, was he?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't believe so. Yeah, he's not a fighter. He's a lover.
Fuck yeah.
Nerarion's beam went through the incoming attack without impacting it, instead carving a line through the row of houses behind. It had only an instant to go back in Gemini world again, afterwards, and each time it disappeared and reappeared, again and again, the mortar was faster to reach it. To Taurus Morta, Nerarion both was and wasn't its master. It was different enough to be treated as a separate target, and yet the same enough to be granted the privilege of phasing its attacks. Oh, that's so fucked. It's you're fucked now, that's my attack.
Low-key, if he was thinking clearly, I think the best option is to just let it hit you as early as possible.
Yeah, so but it's not, by the time you realise how much you are, it's too late. That was the fuck you die move.
Oh, that's
in
rough,
essence,
buddy.
Taurus Morta was now
could he kill the tracking by just completely dispersing his aether? Its aether?
Well, it's a Guardian entity as well, so...
Oh, so it has to.
Yeah, it is an aether ability.
Oh, that's so funny.
So it's basically Nerarion specifically is just get fucked over by this ability.
I know when he has to fight the Rubber Man.
In essence, Taurus Morta was now an increasingly strong and fast projectile that would pursue Nerarion forever, while the Guardian entity couldn't do a thing to impede it. He shrank into the distance, a flickering blue... it shrank into the distance. I'm so fucked up. Little...
Aetheral Space characters, if you ask their pronouns, Nerarion, it's. Thanks for asking.
Nerarion, Guardian entity, because I know Rushi. It shrank into the distance, a flickering blue light chased by a roaring meteor of matter, both growing smaller and smaller until they vanished from sight entirely. The endless chase had only just begun. The Captain watched with a humorless smirk from atop the roof. He'd realised it. the true intended target of Taurus Morta, and the true unconscious target of his resentment. From the very beginning, Taurus Morta had been specialised for use against Dragon Hadrian.
If it wasn't a guardian entity, though, could you counter Taurus Mortar by getting all of your rid of all your Aether and putting it in something else so it targets
You could do that, yeah. But Nerarion cannot do that because it is made of Aether, basically.
Owned. Beast mode.
He had only a moment to consider it before chaos reigned once again. A massive explosion of dust erupted from the distant gates of Oberon, tinged red by the aether of a one-roof plane. Through his lock-on, the captain could tell that Nerarion was still trying to get as far as possible to escape Taurus Mortar's range. But he'd be disappointed by that, but he definitely wasn't coming back anytime soon. Sorry, it'd be. This is so fucked up.
To be fair, its pronouns can be hard to remember.
In which case, it was time for him to give Ruth a hand. The captain took a step off the roof. Gemini World.
Wait, shouldn't that second he also be it?
No, this is... What? Oh, yeah, sorry.
It'd be disappointed with that, but it definitely wasn't coming back anytime soon.
Yes, essentially. In which case, it was time for him to give Ruth a hand. The captain took a step off the roof. Gemini World. And Dragon Hadrian vanished.
Hell to the yes.
Hell yes.
Alright, let's get these questions so I can go hydrate my throat before I die.
Okay.
Alright, let's see. Going to Aetheral Space. Alright, where was I at? Blur asks, does the Hive of Malkuth have one Aether core or many because they're a hive mind?
I would say there is one Aether core. That's a difficult question, actually. Because they are a hive mind. I would say they have the multiple Aether cores, actually.
Okay. Lan asks, if an Aether user became a Gene Tyrant and lost their Aether, then became human again and unlocked Aether, would they have the same Aether core as the first time?
If they went back to exactly how they were originally, they would have the same Aether. If it was like a different person resulting, it would be a different Aether.
Yeah, like they rebooted and then went back?
Yeah, they rebooted and then went back, it would be a different person. It would be a different Aether core and Aether everything.
Lan asks, did anywhere else develop precognition independently of Abra Facade?
Yeah, there's like it's a pretty common thing you'd think of like mental abilities, but they specialize in it. They've got the best precognition.
I imagine like a lot of people experimented with like future sight and got like vague visions and bullshit, and then they're like, let's just do probability math.
Yeah, they know what they're doing, so there's a shared knowledge, so they can make those abilities better by generation.
My Aether ability allows me to cast the bones, and I can read them in the firelight, allowing me to divine weal or woe. It's like we don't.
It's like talking to an Abra Facade. It's like, oh yeah, when I look at you, I can see the exact moment of your death and a script of your funeral.
Oh, look, your obituary. How quaint.
Your wife doesn't seem to be crying too much. How strange.
Oh, it's because I'm there with her. I'm curious.
Oh, well, she's going to be very happy. You can take solace in that.
Just getting read to filth by a fucking future reader. That's so good. Lan asks, tell us about the dragon's fight with Cadman.
It was very similar to what Wu Ming did, where he just sort of showed up one day and went crazy. But it was still a loss for the dragon, obviously, because he's not supreme. But it was fairly entertaining, and Cadman did crack a smile.
So are there 5 contenders in that universe, or did he replace Wu Ming?
He's the 5th contender.
MT asks, for how long has Capricorn Dragon been in Awakening?
0 seconds. He's not awakening.
And since Awakening... Okay, so that's not relevant.
Yeah.
Okay. Wiser... Stift asks, what's Morgan's Aether core?
Perhaps it will be revealed.
Lan asks, how'd One Star get his name, and what's his real name?
I want to say, Darrell, Skipper, you were absolutely right. It is a reference to Michelin stars.
Oh my god! No way!
Yeah, so it's one Michelin.
I'm so good.
It's 1 star, because the names are meant to be insulting, because the ones Henry gives his guys.
Well, even 1 star Michelin's actually pretty good normally, but I guess compared to the other Supreme chefs that would have 3 or more.
Yeah. Well, he's not even a chef, really. He's just...
It's just a freak with a kitchen theme.
He gave them all, like, insulting names like God Trash and Clown Guts.
Did he, in his heyday, did he have goons that were, like, bonus stars?
No. 1 star was, like, the right-hand man, and he just sort of, like, did what Henry's personal business.
So why did he work for Henry? Because Henry was stronger, or did they have, like, a loving relationship?
They had similar hobbies.
They enjoy each other's company. Oh. Oh. We love to eat people.
I will say,
delicious.
well, you'll see how they met in the arc later.
I can't believe I got that right. I'm actually very proud of that. Let's end it there on a high note, and we'll come back with more questions for the next episode. But for now, if you're enjoying Aetheral Space, please remember to leave a review on Spotify and Royal Road, and you take care and have a good one, y'all.
Bye!